Hard not to be in a good mood after, getting into work today and feeling a lot of love, and people are so sweet and so kind, and I'm on vacation next week, so we're going to make today count. Make sure you join us at 800-655-MIKE, call or text. We got through the week. It's been an interesting week, hasn't it? A lot of roller coaster hills, a lot of peaks and valleys. One valley is watching the people who pretended to support Trump bail on him over the issue of tariffs. And I am absolutely riveted by this. Talk show hosts who've been hot and cold on Trump. Politicians, Ted Cruz. Who else? I mean, you got Republicans who are basically hanging Trump out to dry. And I'm so fascinated by that because, of all people, Republicans should know that Trump is delivering exactly what he promised to deliver. Whatever you think of him. And I'm not going to spend all day on tariffs because, frankly, most of us don't even fully understand him anyhow. There's all kinds of analogies that people are raising and examples. At the end of the day, time is going to tell. But why are you going to listen to the people who don't like him in the first place? In a way, this is a very good litmus test. Pay attention to the people who are on our side, who are ripping him over his economic plan. Pay attention to them because they don't believe in him. I don't mean a blind belief, a cultish kind of following. Anything he says or does has to be perfect. I don't know if this is going to work, but I don't want to root against him or the country. If I'm rooting against tariffs, I'm rooting against America. I'm cheering for the demise of our whole economic structure. And I'm pretending that Americans ignored Trump when he promised he would do exactly what he's doing when they pulled the lever for him on November the 5th. He said he was going to do this. And now you're all upset and you're hysterical? Charles Payne dropped a big truth bomb on Fox News Channel about tariffs. This is a guy, an economic expert, knows this stuff far better than you or I. Let's listen to what Charles Payne said about Trump's tariffs.
President Trump ran on tariffs. What we just saw was a president who did what he said he was going to do. Every single day, the media said Trump is running on tariffs, and people said, we know that. Trump is running on bringing back manufacturing. People said, we know that. And they went and pulled the lever for him. This is mind-boggling to me that the media is focused on pain. You know, listen to me. I heard someone earlier today on another network say that countries send us wine, cheese, and Mercedes, and we give them a piece of paper, as if, like, we're getting the better end of the bargain. People sweat. They work hard. They sacrifice families. Families are broken up. People commit crimes for this piece of paper. It represents an investment, our life, our energy. It represents a lot. So we send it over there. We get all this plastic crap on this table. You know how that money comes back to this country? They buy this building. They buy our farms. Mm-hmm. This system is unsustainable. It's unsustainable. We have to figure it out. So if the American people can make a short-term, hey, that beach ball costs 50 cents more, I won't buy it. This is what's really amazing to me. And unfortunately, I hear it on all our network and a lot of networks that somehow we all want a good GDP. We all want a good economy. But does it have to come at the expense? Is it patriotic to always stay in debt? Is it patriotic to spend my entire paycheck so that the economy is good? Is it patriotic so my kids can't afford to go to college? I don't have a retirement. I don't have a decent home. Is that patriotic? Is our patriotism tied to Wall Street? Or should it be tied to our own personal ability to achieve the American dream? We need to rethink all of this.
Over on CNN, Scott Jennings had this take.
Elections are ultimately about choices. They aren't, you don't have them in a vacuum. And I would just argue back to Kamala Harris that, I told you so. I agree. I told you so. Donald Trump was going to close the southern border. I told you so. He was going to bring order to immigration. I told you so. He was going to drag this country out of the left-wing cultural ditch and put us back towards more mainstream, middle of the road.
You think he's done the last thing?
I did tell you so. Now, he's also executing, as you all have acknowledged, his economic agenda, just as he said he was going to do. He's enacting tariffs, and he's asking the Congress to make the tax cuts permanent, and he's unleashing American energy. So I agree. It is I told you so, and about half the country is okay with it, and about half the country voted for it. So it strikes me that this is a healthy level of copium going on right now among Democrats who are telling themselves stories that the people who voted for this are not happy with it. The vast majority, if not everyone who voted for Donald Trump, is some level of happiness ranging from 9 to 10.
This is about defeating the status quo. And Donald Trump's election twice is about defeating the status quo. And the status quo don't like it. Pardon my grammar. The establishment don't like it. Even some Republicans. I cringe when I see the Ted Cruzes of the world. Oh, I don't like tariffs. Oh, they're not my favorite thing. Mitch McConnell. Oh, they're a tax. I'm going to vote against Canada tariffs. Look, these are people, I suspect, who aren't really on board. They talk a good game when they need to, but when push comes to shove, they're just not on board with Trump's agenda. Scott Jennings is absolutely right, completely correct, when he points out that Trump is delivering what he said he was going to do. Tariffs, make the tax cuts permanent, close the southern border. He's doing what he said he was going to do. Finally, we've got a president who's looking out for Main Street, not Wall Street. And did you notice the intensity, too, with his call? A lot of these people are real fired up about it. I mean, my gosh, it's been 2 days. And you hear people talk as if they're ready to, it's like a scene from the Great Depression, and they're ready to jump off, the 20th story of a building in lower Manhattan because give me a break. Look, a lot of people were absolutely fine with shutting down this country and gutting our economy over COVID without even batting an eye. So, I don't know what the guy's motivation is. I think it's helpful, but what's more important is that we listen to people who can kind of explain this in a way that factory workers and hardworking. I love the Charlie Kirk line about our side, we work with our hands. Republicans are laborers, carpenters, painters. A lot of liberals are just academics. They're the product of academia. They're academics. They're just people who, they're elitists. And I know that's a bit of a caricature, but at the end of the day, it holds true. And to manufacturers, to manufacturer job, to the entire, well, let's listen to J.D. Vance. He can articulate it a lot better than I can.
We care the most about American workers and about American small businesses, and they're the ones who are really going to benefit from these policies. Think about how many factories we've seen close down. Since NAFTA in the early 90s, 90,000 American factories have been closed down. That's small towns that have been blighted. That's millions of workers who have lost their jobs. That has to stop.
And that's your wheelhouse.
President Trump, that is my wheelhouse.
That's where you're from.
I grew up in a town where you had 10,000 great American steel workers, and my town was one of the lucky ones. Now probably has 1,500 steel workers in that factory because you had economic policies that rewarded shipping our jobs to China instead of investing in American workers. And that's what President Trump, he ran on changing it, he promised he would change it, and now he has. And I think Americans are going to reap the benefits.
And, it is fascinating. I kept coming back to he ran on this, he delivered it, and now people like Alex are freaking out. Look, the call with Alex was very instructive. There were two big takeaways. The biggest takeaway of all was a simple question. Don't you want it to succeed? And you heard his inability to say yes. It was funny. He got flustered when I said, you're not rooting for America. Oh, how dare you? And then I said, well, do you want Trump's tariffs to succeed? That's not a trick question. The truth of the matter is, he doesn't. It's not that. If you talk to a smart guy like Alex and you say, do you want Trump's economic plan to work? That confounds them because that's the last thing they're thinking about. They're thinking about all the clever ways to try to demolish Trump's presidency. I saw an article, I think over the Daily Beast, just the headline, oh, this is it. Trump's tariffs are going to end his presidency. End his presidency. He's only got 3.5 years left. End it. Where's he going to go? You think he's going to quit because globalists don't like his plan? Because the Daily Beast come on. What do you mean end his presidency? Where's it going to go? He isn't going anywhere. And again, the majority of Americans voted for this.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.